Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Sabbas the Sanctified. Saint Sabbas was one of the founders of Eastern monasticism and is also the patron saint of discipline and spiritual leaders. He was born around the year 439 in a small village of Cappadocia in Turkey. His father was a military commander and he grew up with a strict upbringing. When he was 5 years old, his father went to military service with his mother and they left him under the care of his uncle. Unfortunately, his uncle was very abusive. He was often beaten for no reason, and he was neglected. After 3 years of experiencing mistreatment, he decided to run away. He wandered alone through the streets, abandoned and without anyone to care for him. Fortunately, when he was 8 years old, he sought refuge in a nearby monastery where he was received and raised by monks. There, he learned about discipline, and his spiritual maturity started to grow. Even at such a young age, and though he was not yet an official member of the monastery, he lived in obedience and found deep joy in monastic life. As he grew older, his desire for solitude grew deeper. When he turned 18, he traveled to Jerusalem to learn more about solitary life. He then joined the monastery of Saint Euthemius the Great, one of the most revered desert fathers and hermits at that time. With Euthemius's guidance, he learned more about hermitage and the wisdom of desert asceticism. But after Euthemius died, he moved even deeper into the desert where he lived in a cave for several years as a hermit. This cave could only be accessed by a rope, and he only ate herbs as his food. Over time, other monks started following him, and they were drawn to his holiness. Even though he preferred solitude, they gathered around his cave seeking for his spiritual guidance, and eventually he became their first spiritual leader. In 483, he founded the monastery of Saint Sabbas, located near Jerusalem. It was a community of hermits who lived separately within a single monastic compound. This monastery became one of the most important centers of monastic life in the Eastern Christian Church, and it is also one of the oldest and continuously inhabited monasteries in the world, and it still maintains its ancient traditions. Inside this monastery, he established strict rules emphasizing absolute silence, prayer, and fasting, which helped shape other monastic communities. During the times of doctrinal conflict in the 5th century, he courageously opposed heresies, upholding only the true teachings of Jesus. He also traveled to Constantinople to petition the emperor on behalf of the persecuted Christians in Palestine. In his later years, he returned to his hermitage life, and on December 5, 532, he happily passed away at the age of 93 years old. After he died, his body was buried inside the monastery, and later, it was placed in a mausoleum built to honor his name. Today, he is venerated as the patron saint of discipline and spiritual leaders, and his feast day is celebrated every 5th of December. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.